Wokeism makes you lose, ruins your mind, and ruins you as a person. You become warped, you become demented. The U.S. women's soccer team is a very good example of what's going on.
To Donald Trump and his allies, equality for others feels a lot like oppression to them.
They unexpectedly lost to Sweden 3-0. And Americans were happy about it. Women's soccer team was supposed to easily win, but they went woke, except for a few of them. I love those women that stood up and they saluted our flag. There were some of them. But the one with the purple hair, she didn't play too well. She went woke. You can have her.
Especially when someone as honest, brave, and caring as Megan Rapinoe is helping to lead the charge.
Your message is excluding people. You're excluding me. You're excluding people that look like me. You're excluding people of color. You're excluding, Americans that maybe support you. I think that you're harking back to an era that was not great for everyone. It might have been great for a few people, and maybe America is great for a few people right now, but it's not great for enough Americans in this world.
It is truly disheartening to hear this message from all the way back in 2019, and that it still rings true today, especially given that the right has only ramped up its attacks and vitriol against the LGBTQ plus community, since something Rapinoe unfortunately knows all too well about.
Of the American women's soccer team reluctant to sing the national. You know what I think this babe may be angling for? Kaepernick. She wants a Kaepernick deal with Nike. Damn straight. She's angling for a Kaepernick. She's showing Nike she can be just as anti-American as Kaepernick. Give me a chance. Let me do the LGBTQ angle of Kaepernick.
She was accused of selling out her identity and beliefs for a Nike contract, while accusing Colin Kaepernick of doing the same thing by the demon who was Rush Limbaugh.
They had their eye on their woke activism, which has been this way for a while, but Megan Rapinoe and her imprint on the team has now really made its mark, and I'm thrilled she's gone. I feel like there's a future now for this team potentially without this woman at the helm.
To direct every decision they made, they became polarizing. They became, frankly, quite unlikable. And ultimately, that led to, and I think this is important, the single worst performance by the U.S. Women's World Cup team ever. And yet, Joe Biden puts out a tweet praising them, talking about how beloved they are and how proud of him, how proud of them he was.
Megyn Kelly and Clay Travis blamed wokeness forced upon the team by Rapinoe for their nightmare performance at the 2023 Women's World Cup.
With her divisive approach to just about everything, look, I think it's great. It had the potential to be this wonderful unifying moment for the country that the U.S. women's soccer team played so well, captured that World Cup, but she's just been constantly giving interviews, dissing Donald Trump, dissing the White House, dissing the national anthem. I think that is a shame. She is very liberal, and she can't stand this president, and she is using the platform, I'm sorry to say this, to in some ways mar or spoil or tar what could have been this great unifying experience.
It was a great victory. It was a great tournament.
Can't take it away.
To the team, but she's getting the bulk of the attention.
What a way to waste it with an anthem protest. I mean, this is the thing, that if you're a member of the U.S. national team, you do not have the right to protest the U.S. national anthem while wearing that uniform. And anthem protests are incredibly divisive. And during the NFL protests, we saw 64% of Americans oppose them. So if you're trying to make the case for equal pay and for gender equity, why would you alienate 64% of the country who think that this kind of thing, which has nothing to do with this, the whole protest she was having had nothing to do with gender equity. You're turning away people who should be supportive of you and excited about your game, and instead they're hostile to you because you won't respect the national anthem.
And she was wrongfully torn apart over and over again by the crybabies over at Fox News, who couldn't bear to see someone who doesn't agree with them express their constitutional rights and criticize the president and the government. While they perceive Rapinoe's politics as divisive, selfish, and anti-American, the exact same can be said about how the Republican Party operates. Every reason we've heard so far are just sad, weak excuses to mask their bigotry while using Rapinoe as a straw man to push their anti-LGBTQ+, anti-free speech, and pro-discrimination agenda on the masses. And nothing says that more than Fox blowhard Jeanine Pirro's reaction to this obvious joke from Rapinoe.
I thought about it a little bit. I mean, I'm not a religious person or anything. And if there was a God, like, this is proof that there isn't, because it's fucked up. So yeah, it's just fucked up, because like it's just 6 minutes in, fucking yeet my Achilles. I mean, what the
when she gets injured, she says, if there was a God, this is proof that there isn't. What a narcissistic, arrogant, condescending athlete she is.
Look, we all know that Piro's pearl clutching and Jesse Waters' totally not made up story about catching a leaf on a nature trail were just the same digs Rapinoe has gotten used to over the years. But to Fox's viewers, the hatred they feel of Rapinoe is extended into the larger LGBTQ plus community, especially when the topic of trans athletes comes up.
So she puts ideology over biology. Women have also told me, because she's a lesbian, I believe. Is that true? Yeah. That she may have a different feeling about the trans issue than straight women, that she feels an allyship. Am I using allyship correctly?
I've never heard the word, but I guess so.
Aside from being painfully unfunny, Waters is showing exactly how the right tries to undermine and discredit pro-trans and pro-LGBTQ plus movements, purposefully mispronouncing Rapinoe's name, making fun of allyship, and putting no effort into understanding the issue at hand perpetuates the hate already present within the voter base.
And the timing on this is, I think, really the ultimate giveaway here. Megan Rapinoe is almost 40 and she's retiring. She's not going to have to compete against any biological men pretending to be women. And so she's committing to the ideology of the far left wing to prepare for her next career, which is probably going to be trying to argue that Bidenomics has been a huge success on the left wing just in time for the 2024 presidential election.
And as long as Clay Travis and other transphobes like Riley Gaines continue this crusade, clowns like this will continue to be enabled.
Your U.S. women's soccer team famously lost to high school boys. Do you really think it's fair for these same boys to be competing in girls' sports?
At a Seattle Pride parade, Rapinoe and her partner Sue Bird were hounded by reporter Katie Daviscourt of the conservative propaganda outlet, The Post Millennial.
Do you think it's fair? Why should trans people compete against young girls? Do you not think that they're going to get hurt? Are they going to get hurt? I'm a journalist. I just want to know.
To both of their credit, neither took the bait and refused to engage with Daviscourt's absurd line of questioning. These aren't questions from a real journalist trying to find and gather facts to report a story, but questions from someone looking to generate a reaction and insert themselves into a story. And like clockwork, the aforementioned Riley Gaines immediately hopped on the video, slamming Rapinoe for virtue signaling, while falsely claiming that she's intentionally closing the door for future female athletes by saying trans athletes should be included in pro sports and not discriminated against like they have been. Jason Whitlock also chimed in with a strangely anti-Catholic message while simultaneously praising Daviscourt for fighting for the kingdom of Christianity that doesn't accept or recognize anyone's existence outside of the scientifically proven false notion of binary, rigid gender, and sexuality norms. Megan Rapinoe is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how the right has expanded the normalization of transphobia and homophobia in recent years, and we on the left need to be pushing back now more than ever as we continue to sleepwalk into fascism. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.